Good day, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are and picking up this podcast around the world. Standing in my truth, Valerie M. A.K. Maxfield coming at ya. How you all doing? I'm on season 4. I haven't even been doing this podcast that long. When I started doing podcasts, I had no clue what podcast was all about. I just knew that I wanted to do a podcast. So anyway, I'm sure I've spoken about that in episode 1, seasons 1, 2, whatever. We're now in episode 4. And this is season 4, episode 2. Today's podcast is about, it's a difficult one actually. It's got a cross between anxiety, the vaccine. Do I take it? Because I haven't been vaccinated yet. And dating. I hope to God the guy that I'm talking to at this moment does not hear this podcast. God, I hope he doesn't. Anyway. So, let me just study my truth. Yes, I've been kind of seeing someone, but it's nothing serious. And lockdown came and it was like, okay, I'm not locked down with anyone. I'm not with anybody. So whatever tomfoolery we were doing before lockdown, that's got to stop. And it wasn't anything serious per se. So I was, it's been okay for me to just crack on with my life. And obviously, Standing in My Truth was born out of lockdown because there was so much that we were trying to get to grips with. In the beginning, from the May till around June, July, I think we were still, before we were locked down, we could still go out and have something to eat. And even though the government said, you've got to stay here and you've got to work from home. So for people like myself who live alone, well, you can imagine. It's like, really? No dooga-dooga? I can't kiss nobody? I can't be with anybody? How unfair. One of the things that sprung to mind was, well, if this is what the universe wanted me to have or do, then I'm going to have to go with it. Because somehow it was telling me to stop me in my tracks and stop messing about with the guy, I can't divulge too much, but stop messing around with this guy. It's not going anywhere. Even though he still makes my heart go tickety boom, boom, boom. And he knows he has a way of knowing to pick up the phone and call me. And I'm like, yeah, come on, baby. Come on over. He has a way of including me and making sure that when we were going out, I'd be in this party and I'd see him across the room. I'd come with my friends. And it was one of those relationships where people had an inkling that we were an item, but we weren't telling them that we were an item. For me, that's like, it's a bit of an excitement. But I just didn't want to be the settling down. Because not everything worked. Not everything, there's a lot of things we were compatible with, but majority we weren't. And I have a different lifestyle, he's got a different lifestyle. So there was not really a meeting in the middle, per se. But I still played along with it. And then after a while, I had to tell myself, luckily before lockdown, no, this is not for me. I really just need to have that break. I need to find myself. And lo and behold, lockdown comes along. Now, how much more space am I going to need, to find myself? And so through lockdown, it's like everything just comes to a stop. All the things I'm used to doing, which is like guaranteed I'm out, I'm out from like a Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And if I'm not in the studio, then I'm probably sleeping off most of it. Then it's the Monday morning cycle. If I'm going to go to work or I'm in the studio, I'm on holiday, am I traveling? It was just one constant roller coaster ride. And I enjoyed my life. I really did. But I never thought, it's amazing, and I know I'm not alone in this thought process. I really love saying that thought process. I think I say it in all my podcast shows. It just sounds really nice on me. Anyway, I always never thought the day that, my cat died, so yeah, I definitely was without my cat and lonely in the house, apart from making a phone call to my parents and my siblings or my best friend, etc. I'd never be alone. And I'm used to being on my own. So lockdown wasn't so bad for me. But it made me look at the people as in the male companionship in my life, of the people who are trying to talk to me and get with me. There's no sleeping going on, but it's, what are you there for? Were you just there to stroke my ego? Not that I have an ego, because to be honest, half of the time I'm like, what the hell do you want? And so I used to just really put up with it for the sake of putting up with it, because I didn't want to hurt their feelings. And I know I'm not alone in doing that. I speak to loads of my friends or associates, and female or male, and they will tell you the same thing. We pretty much all seem to be in the same circle. It was like, yeah, I'm seeing blah, blah, blah. Okay, you're just seeing him. All right. Or I'm just seeing this hardy or this girly. Now, I'm not sure why I keep going into American. It's just beyond me. But anyway, I'm seeing, that's who I am. I'm seeing this hearty, girly. And, and I'd say, are you being serious with her? Well, I want to be serious with her. And it just seems to be the way of the world that we're living in right now. People are in a relationship and they want to play outside of the relationship. But let's forget about them. This is me. So it was a case of, truthfully, I had about two or three people trying to talk to me in my DMs and then picking up the phone and calling me. And I'll be honest with you, none of them were floating my boat. None. They either had some stupid baggage, and I have got no baggage. Now, I might be wrong. Maybe I shouldn't be like that. But I don't have any baggage. And so it's taken me a while to drop my baggage and all the crap that I've had to live through, where, mate, if I was to sit and actually podcast the relationships I've had from 2011 to date, the worthless bag of shit I picked up, mate, you'd be surprised. I'm telling you, now that I am sober, I try not to regret them, but my God, what was I thinking? Holy bag of, oh my God. Let me take a breath while I tell you these stories, And in the end, I've decided that I don't think I can talk them out on a podcast. So I've started writing the book. I've got from guys who, me, and they didn't last long, because I just, as soon as I felt the alarm bells, I was out the door, or out the phone, drop the conversation, cutting the conversation. I'm done. I get bored really easily as well. So, rather than telling them that, hey, you are useless, worthless, you're trying to use me, I would literally be polite and stop talking to them, or lessen my conversation, not even letting them know that I am out of this right now. I just ease myself. It's a shame. Do you know what? I might as well do this as a monologue show, because if you ever saw the way I eased myself out of these relationships, you'd be like, damn, girl. Yeah, I wasn't taking any prisoners. I've already been there taken as a prisoner. Yeah, I've been in a situation where a guy was so cocaine high, he got his friend to kidnap me years ago, kidnapped me. And the only way that when that guy took a blade and tried to slice my face and my hands, I was able to duck and dive and physically hold the knife when he pulled the knife in my hand, and literally it was a jagged edge knife. I never forget that. And he ripped at my clothes, and I was able to knee him in the nuts. He got me to this house, locked me in this big room, and I was able to run my way around this room and get away from him. Because he couldn't get it up. He couldn't get it up to physically rape me. That was my first encounter. I've met guys who I've gone on a date and they're giving me a lift home, but I make sure they don't drop me home. They get to I make them drop me somewhere from where I am, and then they try to dump me in the car. And I'm like, what the hell? How do I keep picking up these? Oh God, I'm trying my best to be nice. That's my problem. I'm too nice. Bad judgment of character. Judgment of character, and I've been, mate, I'm telling you, I'm writing, it's all been written in the book, and it's taken me to take the mask off, to stand in my truth, as I said in season 4. So season 4 is actually going deep into a recess of my brain that I locked off. And I thought, the one thing I'm going to do before I stop podcasting, coming out of lockdown, and just concentrating on the YouTube show, was I had to be real. This is what my podcast is all about. I'm hoping that somebody else can relate to the things that have gone on, because they still happen today, even though this happened a long time ago. And you wonder why I drank. And I never forget, where I met a guy and he was just like, yeah, I want to marry you, blah, blah, blah. But again, the alarm bells are going off, and he was just like, it was like I rebounded. So I'd rebound. I never gave myself that space to say, right, I'm going to be by myself, blah, blah, blah. It was like, yeah, that guy wants to take me out, I'm gone. And it was a rebound from one to the other. Luckily, don't worry, there were rebounds, but there was big spaces before I rebounded. Even though I rebounded, I made sure that I didn't sleep with none of them, because now I am consciously aware of my sexuality, that 9 times out of 10, guys just lusted me and didn't see who I was as a person inside. But it took me a while to notice that. I thought they just generally liked me. And then I had those men, the ones that I met, who didn't like the fact that I had a career. But the way that they presented themselves to me was in a way like, yeah, I like you, and that we can have the world. And I thought, why would I have the world when I've been around the world 3 or 4 times? You need to come with something else. It's not where you want to take me, it's how we feel about each other. Money was irrelevant. Holidays were irrelevant. I needed to connect with someone spiritually and intelligently, have something in common. For me, it wasn't just about the sex and the lust. It just wasn't about that. That for me, that part was the bonus. So, I met this other guy, and lo and behold, he was as insecure as they come. I'm sorry. Cancerians are the bane of my existence. The bane of my existence. Because they come across to people so lovely. They're not. They're flipping needy as hell. Needy. They don't show it, but let me tell you, they are quick to tell you all about yourself. They are quick to curse you out. They are bad-tempered, and they just don't listen. And it takes them a few days to calm down. And then when they do calm down, the way that they're sorry is pitiful. And unfortunately for me, by the time I got to the third one, I'm like, why do I keep attracting Cancerians? And I said to myself, because you put yourself out there for a Cancerian to come to you. You're a Scorpio, and so your best match is a Cancerian. And it's volatile, because we have great conversation, but you're just volatile. 2 shells. Not good. But I won't go into all the star sign malarkey. But this other one, he just 2 Scorpios, all from the kind of same background-ish. I didn't even know the other, it's just crazy. And I never forget going into a party, and I was dating this guy, and he just wanted all the girls to like him. And I remember turning up at this party, and he and I, stood together, and secretly, people saw him do it, and then he punched me in my back because he just wasn't right in the head. And I thought, my God, no one has ever assaulted me. No one has ever touched me, apart from almost being raped years ago or attacked years ago. I have made sure that I've never put myself in that position. And I thought, wow, how did I stoop that low to put myself in a position to be in a party full of people? It's only the people that were around me, because it was quite packed, could see that he had done this sharp punch into my back. And I remember walking out and putting my coat on and saying to myself, I will never talk to that guy again. I had stuff in his house. And do you know, stupid me, God, I'm getting quite emotional about this, went back to that house, only for him to apologise, like it never happened. There was times that I'd get there, I'd been busy, gone to a gig, doing what I'm doing, get back, instead of going to my own home, I'd travel to his. And, he'd be so jealous and throw my stuff out the window at like 2 a.m. in the morning because he thought that I'd been with somebody. Oh, it was crazy. This is the things that I'm thinking about. So there's a lot more than this. Then I met this other guy which brought me into sobriety, and literally that was it for me. That was it. The worst kind. And I met this other guy, and I thought, yeah, he's really great. Turns out he was just broken. He was bitter. He was angry at his father. He had lost his mom, and he definitely wasn't a Cancerian. He was worse. He was an Aquarian. Oh my good God. Jesus Christ, Aquarians. Anyway, and a needy, deluded. Yeah, I find most Aquarians are. And, no passion, no compassion for other people. None. And I've seen it not just through going out with someone. They're very self-centered, driven sort of people. And Scorpios are quite sensitive. We're very sensitive. We might not seem it, but we are. We're very, very sensitive. So we pick up on things very easily. Anyway, this guy, now, for the first time in a long time, this guy was just everything I liked in a guy. But he was just broken. Just broken. He didn't have but how this guy survived and still looked good. And it's funny. I always seem to be attracted to guys who had swag, because I'd like to think that I'm a great dresser. But, somehow, if the guy's got a bit of swag and he looked good, you'd got me bought already. How shallow is that? And then by the time I've got past the exterior and then gone to see what they've got in between, they were just broken. Every single one of them they just saw money, sex money. They thought that's all I could offer them. And I just kept giving money until I was bone dry. Bone dry. I know, right? Look at me. Do I look that stupid? Well, alcohol made me that stupid. And I was grieving. And that's one of the things that I will be talking on. I have a podcast show talking about bereavement, grieving, with a couple of counsellors that's coming on to talk about how people deal with grief and money with grief and the people around you with grief. And I wish I handled my grief a lot more better than I did. So by the time I met the last guy, it was just this whole grief. I've been grieving for about 5 years when I lost my brother. Crazy, because he was my best friend. He was the best thing in my life, the best. Him and and then literally after I lost my brother, then I lost my grandmother, she's my mother because she brought me up. I lived with her all my life. Just crazy episodes that I've been through. And all behind all of that, I smile and I try to be happy and be with other people, and I want everybody else around me to be happy, and secretly behind closed doors, I'm like, oh God. And trying to deal with anxiety on top of it all is not the best. There's days I'd be in the house and just having these panic attacks, which was so bad. How I managed to get out the door is beyond me at times. But let's come forward. As I said, the last straw was that guy 4 years ago. And I realised that this guy just took everything I had. He demoralised me. He embarrassed me. He lied about I had money, and I just didn't. I whacked a whole load of money on this guy because he didn't have any. And his trait was dating women that was older than him. He wasn't older than me, but he in his past was the way how he managed to be dressed nice and look nice and all that was to live on the government money, but date older women because older women took care of him. Crazy. And he just knew how to spin a good story. I remember leaving my home and jumping on a plane to meet him on a holiday in another country that it had nothing to do with me, only because he needed me to bankroll him while I was there. But I'm coming forward. And I had to turn and tell myself, that's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. You don't do that sort of thing. And once I stopped drinking, I haven't met any, because my clarity, and that was the only time once I dropped him, I was able to go and visit my brother's grave. And I sat there and I said my piece, and it was cathartic. To visit his grave. So I never visited his grave once he died. That was the first time for me. And so, coming forward, we're now into 2021. This was 2018. And I've just stayed single. And even though I've had my little buddy, my friend, even then we don't fornicate, because I choose not to, but he still, likes me, checks for me, he likes us to settle down. I'm not doing it. I just don't want to. Lo and behold, through lockdown, I've tried to ease him out, but he always rings to see if I'm okay. I don't find the need to, because I've now learnt to find my worth, to love myself. But at some point, for the first time, I said, 2021, I'm going to go out dating. I'm actually going to find someone, as opposed to men jumping in my DMs on Insta or whatever, because I don't want you. I don't need you. I'm not looking at your picture to want you. I want to physically date someone. Fair dues to everyone on a dating app. That's your prerogative. And that's what I thought. And so recently, I got in contact with some guy. It was just so random how me and this guy started speaking. And so we're only 10 days in. And I started speaking to him. And he kept saying, we need to meet up. And would you believe I can't leave my house? This guy has everything I want, everything I like. It's like I am talking to myself when I'm talking to him. He is just so tender. He's just so beautiful. He is, to me, is like, wow, how and where have you been all my life? You know, to the point that, you know, I wouldn't normally say anything to my friends. I actually had to read it and goes, can you believe I'm dating me? And they were like, what do you mean? I said, I find that I'm having a conversation with someone who actually sounds like me, and we share the same things we've gone through, well, apart from not being raped, but he's gone through the same kind of things in life. We've got the music background. We like the same sports. We, you know, just everything. There's really, it's just crazy, absolutely crazy. Anyway, 10 days in, I've cancelled on 2 meetups already because I can't get out of the house. I'm so concentrating on, I mean, I can go to the shop, I can, you know, put my mask on and go to the shop and blah-de-da-de-da. I don't know how to put shoes on. None of my clothes fits. And even though I've put weight on, lost weight, I'm still anxious to be amongst people. Everybody is getting up and going out to have meals and stuff. I'm still ringing up to have meals from Deliveroo and still texting and talking to this guy. It's so bad that my date was last Wednesday, and I actually pressed the distract button and just went into a full rant and then told him I'm not meeting him. Oh, Jesus. Absolutely crazy. And so I don't know if anybody else is going through that. Are they thinking about dating? If you've gone through lockdown by yourself and you now decide that you want to have a relationship, how are you dealing with that? Because I'd like to now have a relationship because I've got no baggage. I've got nothing. For the first time in all my life, I am as single as they come. I don't have anyone ringing me, bothering me, which I quite like. No one that I text in the morning like, hi, baby, or good night, baby. Now, this guy started to do that. You know, we were texting good night, babe, and good morning. But I got so used to waking up with my crumpled face in the morning and forgetting that, oh my God, let me tell him good morning. That's bad, isn't it? Does it mean that he's not on my brain? I don't know. He was on my brain, but by the time he was on my brain, it's like nearly 10 o'clock. Is that bad? Oh, God. I am terrible, aren't I? I'm not being, it's like, God, am I being selfish? What is it? Oh, help. So, my conscience got the better of me because I'm that type of person. And I literally had to send him a voice message because after I said, look, I'm cancelling the date, we'll meet up or we catch up, he didn't speak to me at all. He literally just stopped speaking to me. And And I don't know why, or I don't know if it was me, or I just don't know. And so because of that silence, you just don't understand what's gone on. I just sent a message to him and I just said, look, I do this all the time. I press the distract button and hey, I'm far ahead. So it's not fear. It's I've already played out the whole scenario. It's not going to work. Goodbye. I'm pressing the distract button. Bye. Famous for it. I do all the time. And that's why I'm probably going to end up being single. And so these are the things that I do. Crazy, I know. But somehow the universe, even though I did that, he didn't respond back to me after I sent the message. Would you? I don't think I would. But I was glad he didn't. I was like, right, okay, let's get on with it. So I went into a full, the next day I was like, I've got used to talking to him. But then I just cracked on because I had shows to deal with. I had to prepare for my last show on the Thursday, and then I had to prepare for my Friday show. And I hadn't heard from him. But lo and behold, I don't normally go back and look at my the comments and who watched the shows on my YouTube or my Facebook. But lo and behold, I hadn't heard from him, and I think the Friday I may have got a text, and I was like, whoa, he's just texted me. But it was just like hug text, and I just thought, right, okay, I'll talk to him back in a minute. But I completely forgot. It went over my head. So in the end, I then did my show, and randomly I looked back on the show on the Friday. I think it was Friday night, late Sunday, and he had watched the show. He had tuned in, and he'd put love heart. I was like, oh. Oh my God, I know, I must be a soppy cow, aren't I? But it warmed me up. It was like, oh my God, oh no. But I didn't know why I was going, oh no. Was I oh noing because, oh no, he's come back? Or is it, oh no, how do I deal with this? And guess what I did? I sent him a message and said, how are you? And I just broke the ice. How are you? Thank you for tuning in and watching the show. And he was so adorable. And he came back and he just said, it was a fantastic show. He said, as always, your research was on point. And I was like, oh, thank you. I'm not good with compliments, by the way. And he was just delightful. And he just said it was a great show, blah, blah, blah. I really enjoyed it. He said he had his boys down for the weekend because he's got 2 boys. And he said he got them to sit and watch it. And I was like, oh! I was like, sacre bleu, how could you? And so, yeah, he said his 2 boys. And he said that, they liked it too. And so the ice got broken. So here I am thinking, okay, we got back in the routine of talking to each other all yesterday, but it's strained. So it's like, oh yeah, did you watch the F1? Oh, did you do this? And I'm just about to cook and blah, 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 blah. But by the time it got to 8 o'clock, I literally stayed up all of Friday night to into Saturday morning. So I was dead tired. So by the time it got to Saturday night, I was gone by 8:45 and I didn't wake up until like this, the early Sunday morning. OMG. He had messaged me and I didn't message back. So you can imagine he thought I had, I was blanking it. I was like, oh God, Valerie. Oh, do you know what I mean? What is going on with you? What is with the universe at the moment? So I just sent him a message saying, hey, I've just woken up. My face is all crumpled, as you do. And he didn't respond for a little while. And when he did, he just said, I'm up and I'm going to break my fast and I'm going to go and make the boys some burgers. He said one wants breakfast, one wants lunch. And so that's where it's left. And we had the odd conversation. So for me, I'm just giving you my daily blog. How do I date in coming out of COVID? Someone new, it's brand new. How am I dealing with it? Because my anxiety levels are up in the creek. I watched the whole weekend where people were out partying, people were having like the weather's shite, by the way. People were having marquee parties. And I'm not interested. I'm not even jealous about it. And I am one of the biggest party animals you will ever find. Ask anybody that knows me. I am constantly on, am I getting old? No. I love my music. I'm at home. I play music. I thrive for music. I'm trying to get the band, our band is almost coming back together. Did I tell you I was in a band? Anyway, so all of these things, these little exciting little things are happening. And I'm anxious as fuck. I'm telling you. Excuse my French. I don't know how I'm going to integrate back into normal life. And a really, really close friend of mine messaged me and said, hey, I love you. And I really do love him. I've always loved him. Did I just say that on my podcast? Yes, this is a secret one that I think people know that this guy's in my life, and but we've just never. And he's got a girlfriend, and whatever. We've always been the most. I just love him, and I've always loved him. To be fair, God, I hope none of my exes hear this. But anyway, right? But yes, I have a secret crushy kind of lover, and I always have. He's been there for about 10, 15 years. We've just never made it official, and we've just watched each other like ships in the night with different, I'm in a relationship, and we just sit and look at each other like, wow. And then, when he comes to London, I get to have dinner or lunch and stuff like that, but nothing because I really believe in loyalty. I can't do the cheating thing. It's just not me, because I am as jealous as hell. So I'm sorry, if I don't want no one to be doing that to me, I can't do it to anybody else. So I will just love you from a distance, and that's just all I do. So here I am, anxious as hell. He's messaging and says, oh, when I come down, I'm taking you for dinner. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't come out. I don't want anyone in my house. Help me. I'm laughing about it, but I really have bad anxiety, and I'm dreading it. I am really, really dreading getting back to normal life. Luckily, I can work from home at the moment, but there has to be days that I will have to get out and be amongst other people. It is going to be, oh God, it's going to be horrible. And I've gone out and bought these masks, these really weird, like plastic visor looking masks, but they're quite pretty. I could actually make them, they make them look designed, so I can look pretty. Going to work and being in work, that sort of thing, and do studio shows. But I am my anxiety levels are bad, and it'd be interesting to hear from anybody else who is in the same boat as I, who wants to go out with their friends and date and stuff like that, but they're finding it very hard to leave the house. And that's season 4, episode 2 of my daily blog. My anxiety levels. I want a date. Help. That's me, Valerie Maxfield, checking out, standing in my truth. Take care. Mwah.